So one of the questions we get all the time from guys who either listen to the podcast or come to a live event is, what can I do about improving the quality of my broadcast mix? Whether that's either a board mix that's going to be used for sending to the team just for evaluation or archive, or whether it's actually a stream going to the web, how can I make that better? So for us at North Point, we have the luxury of having a broadcast studio with a console and a person who's mixing, taking all the inputs and making that mix what it needs to be for the web and not worrying about the PA. So that, in a way, is easier. The person needs to be skilled in a different way, but the process might be easier. But both of you guys use your front of house mix as your broadcast mix.
Yeah.
So we want to talk for a few minutes about what you do in terms of workflow and thought process and all that to get your board mix to be better for the web.
Yeah, I think one thing is mixes online or board mixes can sound really thin and lack energy in the low end. It just makes it sound cheap and unprofessional. So one thing I see is a lot of churches rely way too much on aux-fed subs first over putting low frequency into EQ on inputs. And how that would bite you would be, you throw up a kick drum, throw the fader up, and it's like, it needs more energy. And then you just go to aux 18, dial it to 3 o'clock, and wham, there's all the energy. But that doesn't change your board mix, your broadcast mix, anything like that.
Right.
So if you just flip that and go, turn the subs off, get it sounding as good as you possibly can, boosting the low frequency there on the input, and then throw your subs in, your result for your broadcast mix is going to be better. I'd argue if you have a decent PA, the whole mix would be better doing it that way too.
Right.
I've been working on the broadcast mix for a long time, like much longer than I probably should have, but that's what got me to go to aux-fed subs. I always did it the other way. And when I started realizing that exact thing, I was like, well, if I could just get the subs off, I can figure out how to build a mix with no subs, right? I mean, everyone should do that.
Yeah.
Whether you have to go physically unplug the sub cabinets or whatever, try to build your mix in just the PA. So many people rely on using the console to do some mumbo jumbo to make their broadcast mix better.
Right.
They could just work on what's coming out of the speakers and the way they're dealing with it on the console. So that's why I did that. Get the mix going. Is it all cool? Listen to the broadcast side. More often than not, I was like, this rules. This is much better.
Yep.
Then if I needed energy for the room, you could go back in and tweak that in and help.
Add it after the fact.
Yeah, but...
And then you're not affecting your broadcast mix because it's already cool.
That's right.
Right.
So keeping that in check is a huge deal because I go into so many spaces. Like, how many concerts do you go to that are like, there's so much low end in here and they're really relying on it.
Right.
If we're trying to make our broadcast mixes better, especially in a church, being able to mitigate that early on in the process is only going to help.
And the other thing I would say is, if your room's ambience, when you're in the room, sounds pretty good and you're not using a lot of effects, for example, you might consider adding some just for the broadcast mix.
Right.
So you add a sense of space and reverb, and you might make an out-of-tune singer sound a little better because they're in a little more of a ambient space and that kind of thing.
It's almost a little camouflage, and it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it's like a different approach, though, to the broadcast side with effects than maybe you would do in the PA. I'm not sure how you guys feel about that, but...
Well, I'll say this, doing a broadcast mix off of one console, I don't use an aux to create another mix to go to it. I'm using literal inputs that hit the room.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I may go a little more liberal on effects in the room, not enough to change the dynamics of the space, but I may go a little wetter on some things, knowing that I'm doing it for two things, room and broadcast. You know what I mean?
Good. Yeah.
And make adjustments like that.
Compromises, but
and
find the middle ground so that both are served really well.
That's right. And there's usually a place where you can find a way to add some more reverb or some thickeners or something that doesn't take away your room. Would you agree with that?
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, and then you go listen to that and go, that's really usable.
Yeah.
That can really work. And you're literally getting to mix on just the desk.
I've also seen, and I've been guilty of this, you go into a small room and you just neglect things like overheads because you're hearing them so loud off the stage. But then you go listen to the board mix and it's kick snare, and it's like all you hear.
Right.
That's why it's really important, even if you're not using them in your room, throw them up to a level where they're at least mixed well. Just throw in a set of headphones or whatever, but get that stuff still in there.
Even like your guitar amps and stuff like that, just put your level up where there's something coming down the line through the mic in there. Some of those tricks like can really make a broadcast mix come alive.
That's cool.
Yeah.